Have you ever noticed how the mind never seems to rest? One moment it is racing with thoughts about the future. Another moment is replaying memories of the past, while feelings rise and fall in the body like waves you cannot control. Sometimes you are carried by joy, sometimes you are consumed by fear, and sometimes you are lost in endless loops of worry. And yet, beneath all of this, there is a question we rarely ask. Who is the one noticing? What if the real secret to peace is not in fixing thoughts, not in controlling feelings, but in remembering the awareness that is always watching? In this video, we will step beyond the noise of the mind, beyond the storm of emotions, into the quiet truth of who you really are. Stay with me, because once you see this clearly, the grip of thinking and feeling begins to dissolve, and life itself becomes lighter, freer, more alive than you ever imagined. From the moment we wake up each day, the dance between thoughts and feelings begins again. A thought may greet us before we even rise from bed. I have so much to do today. Immediately, a feeling follows, perhaps tension in the chest, or a sense of heaviness in the body. Or maybe it starts the other way. The body feels sluggish, the mood feels heavy, and then the thoughts arise. I cannot handle this. It is going to be a difficult day. This back and forth happens so quickly, most of us never notice it. And yet, it quietly shapes every choice we make, every word we speak, every action we take. Scientists remind us that feelings are primal, hardwired into the deepest structures of the brain. They are not mistakes, they are survival signals, tuned to keep us alive. A sudden noise startles us. Fear rises before we even know what happened. The stomach growls, hunger demands our attention. Before a single plan has formed, feelings come first, fast and urgent. Thoughts, however, arrive a little later, weaving meaning into what we sense. When fear rises, thought names it danger. When hunger arrives, thought imagines food. When joy stirs in the heart, thought declares, "This is love, this is safety." Together, thought and feeling create the texture of human life. But here is where the trap begins. Because thought and feeling feed each other, they can build loops that seem impossible to escape. Imagine you are anxious, the body feels tight, restless. The thought arises, "Something is wrong. I cannot do this." That thought fuels more anxiety, which fuels more thoughts, until the loop becomes a storm. What began as a flicker of sensation becomes a prison of the mind. The same can happen with anger, sadness, or even desire. A feeling arises, thought interprets it, the interpretation fuels the feeling, and before long we are caught in a cycle we cannot control. This is why it is so important to pause, to notice what is happening, and to remember that we are not the cycle itself. We are the awareness in which the cycle appears. The body feels fear, the mind thinks fear, but the awareness that notices both remains untouched. It is like sitting beside a river. The water rushes past, carrying sticks, leaves, waves. But you are not the river. You are the witness on the bank. When you rest as the witness, the flow loses its power to drown you. In daily life, this shift can change everything. Suppose you are in conflict with someone you care about. The feeling of anger surges, heat rises in the chest. The thought immediately follows, "They are wrong, I must defend myself." Normally you would react, words would fly, damage would be done. But if you pause, if you notice, here's anger in the body, here's the thought that follows, suddenly a new possibility appears. You can breathe, you can listen, you can choose not to be driven by the storm. The conflict softens, space for compassion opens. What felt like a prison becomes an opportunity for connection. This is not about denying thoughts or suppressing feelings. Suppression only drives them deeper, making them stronger. It is about allowing them to arise, but refusing to identify with them. A feeling is not who you are, a thought is not who you are. Both are visitors passing through the open space of awareness. The more you see this, the lighter life becomes. Even heavy emotions, even dark thoughts, lose some of their weight when you no longer cling to them as mine. Imagine joy for a moment. Joy arrives like sunshine, warming the body, lifting the spirit. But then thought enters, I hope this lasts, I do not want it to end. That thought creates fear that joy will vanish. And so even in the middle of joy, suffering sneaks in. But if you remember, this is joy moving through awareness. You can simply feel it without clinging. When it fades, as all feelings do, you remain open, ready for the next moment. Nothing is lost, because awareness itself was never lacking. This practice requires patience. At first, the old habit of identification will be strong. You will catch yourself saying, I am angry, I am afraid, I am sad. But with practice, you begin to reframe. Anger is here, fear is here, sadness is here. The shift may seem small, but it is profound. One statement traps you, the other frees you. One makes you the storm, the other makes you the sky. Non-dual wisdom traditions speak of this often. They remind us that thoughts and feelings are like ripples on an infinite ocean. Some ripples are large, some small, some turbulent, some calm. But none of them are separate from the ocean, and none of them define the ocean. You are that ocean. You are not limited to the waves that pass across your surface. When you know this, you no longer ask which wave came first. You rest in the water that holds them all. So, when you wake tomorrow and notice the mind already racing, or the body already heavy with feeling, pause, notice the thought, notice the feeling, and then notice the awareness that sees both. That simple act of noticing is the doorway to freedom. Step through it often, and you will discover that life does not need to be a prison of thought and feeling. It can be a flowing dance, beautiful and ever-changing, within the vastness of who you truly are. The deeper we explore, the more we see how easily thought and feeling can create an entire world. One that feels so solid, yet has no true foundation. Imagine a single thought arising, I am not good enough. On its own, it is only a sentence passing through the mind. But then the body responds, a sinking in the stomach, a heaviness in the chest. That sensation is labeled by the mind. This is shame, this is failure. Immediately more thoughts appear. I will never succeed, they will not respect me, I am broken. Soon, what began as one thought has become an entire identity, wrapped in emotion, reinforced by memory. And yet, all of it is happening within the field of awareness, passing like clouds across the sky. This cycle is not unique to shame. It happens with fear, anger, jealousy, even joy. A thought triggers a feeling, the feeling triggers more thoughts, and suddenly we are caught in a loop. The loop feels real because it engages the body, the heart, the mind all at once. But when we pause and notice, we see that both the thought and the feeling are temporary, fleeting movements in awareness. They are not solid, not permanent, not who we truly are. Think of the last time you felt fear. Perhaps it was before speaking in public or facing a difficult decision. The body tensed, the heart pounded, the breath shortened. Then thoughts rushed in. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I am rejected? Fear and thought fed each other, creating a storm that seemed overwhelming. But once the moment passed, once the experience was behind you, where was the fear? Where were the thoughts? They had dissolved, leaving only the memory, a shadow of what once seemed so real. This is the nature of all thought and feeling. They arise, they peak, they fade, awareness remains. When we see this clearly, something begins to shift inside. We no longer feel the need to fight our thoughts or deny our feelings. Fighting them only makes them stronger. Denying them only drives them underground. Instead, we allow them, but we no longer mistake them as who we are. A thought arises, we notice it, but we do not cling to it. A feeling arises, we feel it, but we do not build a story around it. In this allowing, a deeper peace emerges, a peace that is not dependent on what the mind or body is doing. This peace is not indifference. It is not about being numb. It is about meeting life as it is without the extra layer of struggle. For example, sadness may still arise when we lose something precious. That sadness is natural, part of being human. But if we add thoughts like, I should not feel this, I will never be happy again, then sadness becomes suffering. If we allow sadness to be present without judgment, it will move through us like rain passing across the land, nourishing as it goes. The same is true for anger, fear, even joy. When we meet them without clinging or resistance, they serve their purpose and dissolve, leaving us open to the next moment. From this perspective, thinking also finds its rightful place. Thinking is a powerful tool, capable of solving problems, creating art, planning futures. But it is only a tool. When we mistake thinking for our identity, we become trapped in endless analysis, lost in stories that never end. But when we see thinking as simply another movement in awareness, we can use it wisely without being owned by it. A thought arises, I should call a friend. We act, and the thought fades. Another thought arises, I cannot do this, I will fail. We notice, we let it pass, and we are free to act from clarity instead of fear. This is the balance. Feelings show us what is alive in the body, what needs attention. Thoughts give us the ability to respond with intelligence. But both are passing, neither define us. The true foundation is awareness itself, the silent presence that holds every experience. Resting in that awareness, we can honor both thought and feeling without being enslaved by them. There's a simple practice you can try. The next time a strong thought or feeling arises, instead of reacting immediately, pause, take a breath, say silently, this too is happening in awareness. Notice how the thought loses some of its grip, how the feeling softens, simply because you remembered the space in which it is appearing. That space is always here, always open, always free. You do not have to create it, you only have to notice it. Over time, this practice becomes a new way of living. Instead of being tossed by every wave, you begin to rest in the ocean. Instead of being blinded by every cloud, you begin to rest in the sky. Thoughts and feelings still come, as they always will, but they no longer control you. You can use them, listen to them, learn from them, but you remain free. This freedom is not distant. It is available right now in the simple act of noticing. So the next time your mind races, the next time your heart surges, remember, you are not the thought, you are not the feeling, you are the awareness that notices them both. In that remembering, peace is already here. There comes a moment when all the explanations about brain regions, evolution, or psychology fall short. We can describe feelings as signals in the limbic system. We can describe thoughts as patterns in the prefrontal cortex. But those descriptions never capture the living reality of what it means to feel and to think. The real mystery is not the mechanics, but the experience itself. How can a rush of electricity in the brain become the warmth of love or the sting of grief? How can a chemical reaction produce the vast landscape of memory, imagination, or creativity? This is what scientists call the hard problem of consciousness. But in truth, it is only a problem if we assume the brain creates awareness. If we turn the view around, if we recognize awareness as the ground of all experience, then thought and feeling are simply its expressions. From this perspective, there is no separation. A thought arises in awareness, a feeling arises in awareness. Both are movements of the same field. It is like waves on the ocean, one taller, one smaller, but both made of the same water. The question of which came first becomes meaningless, because neither exists apart from the ocean itself. The real discovery is not about priority, but about essence. Both thought and feeling are flavors of consciousness appearing and dissolving in the space of awareness. When you see this clearly, a new freedom is born. You no longer need to analyze endlessly, trying to pin down the origin of your inner world. You no longer need to be tortured by thoughts that will not stop, or by feelings that seem overwhelming. You can allow them, watch them, and know that they are simply passing appearances. No more solid than clouds drifting across the sky. The sky is never harmed by the storm. The ocean is never broken by the waves. In the same way, awareness is never touched by the thoughts and feelings that move through it. This recognition can change the way you live each day. Imagine sitting quietly and noticing fear arise. The body tenses, the heart races. In the past, you may have believed, "This is my fear, I'm afraid." But now you see this is fear arising in awareness. That simple shift creates space. The fear is still present, but you are no longer consumed by it. The same is true with anger, sadness, or even joy. They still move through, but they do not own you. They are seen for what they are, temporary ripples in the vastness of awareness. It's important to understand this is not about denying human experience. We still feel, we still think, we still act. But the quality of life changes when we stop clinging to those experiences as our identity. Anger can still show you where a boundary has been crossed. Fear can still alert you to danger. Joy can still lift your spirit. But none of them define you, none of them limit you. You are the awareness in which they appear, not the passing forms themselves. This shift also dissolves the sense of ownership. We often say, my anger, my sadness, my thought. But truly, can you control when anger arises? Can you stop thoughts from appearing? They come uninvited, they move in their own rhythm. They are not possessions, they are experiences. And experiences belong to the field of awareness, not to a separate me. When this illusion of ownership drops, the grip of suffering drops with it. Imagine watching a movie. The characters struggle, love, fight, and cry. For a while, you are drawn in, you identify with them, you feel their joy, their sorrow, as if it is your own. But when the credits roll, you remember it was a story on a screen. Life is not so different. Thoughts and feelings are the movie, awareness is the screen. When you forget, you are lost in the drama. When you remember, you rest as the screen itself, unchanging, silent, free. This does not mean you stop caring or withdraw from life. In fact, it allows you to care more deeply without being destroyed by the ups and downs. You can love fully without clinging. You can act with courage without fear of loss. You can grieve without being broken. Because you know, in the deepest sense, that awareness is never harmed by what arises in it. Practicing this recognition can be simple. The next time a strong thought or feeling arises, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, who is noticing this? Do not rush to find an answer. Let the question point you back to awareness itself. In that pause, the storm begins to lose its grip. The thought continues, the feeling continues, but you are anchored in the silent witness that holds them both. Over time, this practice becomes natural, like returning home. So, the entanglement of thought and feeling is not a curse, it is a gateway. It invites you to look deeper, beyond the storm, into the sky that holds it. When you see clearly, you realize that you were never the storm to begin with. You were always the sky. Thoughts and feelings rise and fall, but you remain timeless, spacious, free. And from that freedom, you can meet life with wisdom and compassion, no longer tortured by the mind, no longer drawn by emotion, but flowing with both as natural expressions of the one awareness you truly are. As we bring all of this together, a new way of living starts to take shape. It is not about silencing thoughts or suppressing feelings or choosing one over the other. It is about shifting the center of our identity from being caught inside the storm to resting as the sky that holds it. Once you begin to taste this shift, even for a moment, your entire relationship with life changes. The noise of the mind may still be there, the waves of emotion may still come and go, but they no longer control you, they no longer define who you are. Think for a moment about how much energy we waste trying to manage, control, or resist our inner world. We fight thoughts we do not want, and they grow louder. We push away feelings we cannot bear, and they sink deeper, only to return stronger. We cling to joy, trying to stretch it out, and in that clinging, we lose the very freedom that joy brings. This is the cycle of suffering. It is not the thought itself, nor the feeling itself, but our identification with them, our insistence that they are mine, that binds us. But when you step back into awareness, even for a single breath, the grip begins to loosen. You realize this anger is not mine, it is simply arising. You realize this sadness is not who I am, it is moving through. You realize this joy is beautiful, but it too will pass. And in that realization, you find peace. Not because the storm has ended, but because you are no longer lost in it. This peace is not cold, it is not distant, it is alive, warm, and deeply compassionate. When you rest as awareness, you can feel everything more fully, not less. You can allow sadness without fear, you can allow anger without shame, you can allow joy without clinging. Every experience is welcomed, honored, and allowed to dissolve naturally. Nothing is denied, but nothing is mistaken as your essence. Your essence remains untouched, unchanging, vast. Imagine meeting a difficult moment from this place. Someone criticizes you. In the past, you may have been flooded with defensiveness, anger, or shame. You may have reacted quickly, words spilling out that you later regretted, but now you pause. You notice the sting of the feeling in your body. You notice the thoughts rushing in to defend your worth. And then you notice awareness itself, the space in which both are appearing. In that pause, you discover freedom. You do not need to react from the storm. You can choose clarity, compassion, patience. The outer situation may still be difficult, but inside you remain steady. This is the true gift of recognizing awareness as your ground. It does not remove the challenges of life, but it changes the way you meet them. Instead of being a prisoner of thought and feeling, you become the witness, the chooser, the one who responds with wisdom instead of reaction. In that space, peace becomes possible even in the middle of chaos. It is worth remembering this shift is not something you need to achieve. Awareness is not something you create. It is already here, right now. Noticing these words, noticing the breath moving through your body, noticing the sounds around you. You don't have to reach for it, you only have to recognize it. The thoughts and feelings may come and go, but awareness has never left. It is the silent background of every moment, steady and unbroken. So the invitation is simple but profound. Each time you feel lost, each time you feel tortured by your own mind, pause and ask, who is noticing this? The answer is not another thought, not another feeling. The answer is the noticing itself, the awareness that has been here all along. Rest there. Even for a moment, that single breath of recognition is enough to remind you of your true nature. Over time, this practice becomes more natural. You find yourself less pulled into the loops of thought and feeling. You find yourself more at peace, more open, more compassionate. You begin to live from awareness instead of living as a prisoner of the mind. And in that shift, life becomes lighter, freer, more alive. This is the heart of the teaching. You are not your thoughts, you are not your feelings. You are the awareness in which both arise. Thoughts and feelings are waves. Awareness is the ocean. Thoughts and feelings are clouds. Awareness is the sky. Thoughts and feelings are images on a screen. Awareness is the screen itself. The metaphors are many, but the truth is one. Awareness is what you are, timeless, unchanging, free. So do not be tortured by the endless loops of thought and feeling. Do not cling to them. Do not resist them. Let them arise, let them pass, like weather moving through the vast sky. Rest is the awareness that you are, and you will find a peace that nothing can disturb, a freedom that no storm can take away. If what you heard today brought you even a moment of peace, I invite you to stay on this journey with me. Remember, you are not trapped inside your thoughts, and you are not defined by your feelings. You are the awareness that gently holds them both. Share this message with someone you love, someone who may be struggling with their own mind, and let them discover the same freedom. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you will be guided into the next meditation as soon as